so the original inspiration of the story was from a short story called The Shadow Over Innsmouth, which is all about this guy who goes through a small town in New England, and the villagers maraud him, and he barely escapes, and then calls in the government comes in and destroys the town, and then he realizes that he actually is related to the people in this town. And so it's really about, Lovecraft was really trying to get to the inevitable horror of heredity, like you can't escape who you are, so it's all about that. So that in the story appealed to us, but in a broader sense, but we really strayed from that original short story. In a broader sense, Lovecraft was really about a cosmic horror, and the idea that there are powers operating in the universe that we have no keen for, that there's no rationalizing in our small brains of what's operating outside of our perception. So it really kind of jived with what was happening with the government and the world and the way things are kind of coming unraveled. So it just spoke to us in that way.
It's just one of the images I like, or one of the scenes I like, is seeing all those names spread out throughout. And
I actually got that from the Mormons. The idea with the Mormons that they have a data bank of everyone's family history, that there's like a hall of names of everyone that's ever been alive. I think it's just very creepy.
But Lovecraft is also known for mood, language, like really hard to figure out language, but also like mood and just creating the moods. I don't know, is that?
Yeah, so more specific, more than being specific to the source material, is more about capturing that tone and mood of his works, like in a broader sense. So it's not really, so it moved from being about that kind of short story to being about the cosmic dread. It's in most of his works.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it was great because, you know, he would have access to the police reports every, you know, Thursday or Monday morning or something, and you know, bring up a box of police reports, and you'd read this great material, you know, names were blotted out. And I remember that one police report very well. You know, it was graphic, and you know, the testimony that the officer gets, you know, is just very clear, and he's taking it, you know, pretty precisely. Of course, there's, you know,
There was a teen
transportation
girl who
was offered, you know, according to the report, blowjobs for $1 a pop was the phrase. And so, but you know, it was, so there was that married with this guy who, you know, was thinking, you know, as an immigrant, a recent immigrant, was thinking more in his own language, but was confronted in needing to communicate, you know, with his secondary language, verbally and written wise.
So, and the movie itself is interesting. I happen to have been involved with the production of the film, and know that it did not initially have the narration. So it was almost adapted midstream after being edited, and then adapted, and then like narration was added on top of it.
Yeah.
It works really well.
It was essentially a failure, and we had to come up with some novel ways to, you know, rectify the problems. So, but you know, it was something we had in our head about midway through shooting, but we didn't really consider doing it, and then it was just too spare. You know, it didn't have enough of the characters. You know, he didn't speak a lot, so people didn't get to know him. So we thought it was appropriate to add a, you know, a voice.
But it was interesting because you took police beat articles, and then they all had this similar voice to them, but they were disconnected. And then you were able to tie them together with this main character.
Well, you know, that is I think the problems of something that, you know, that adapting something like that, there really is no beginning, middle, or end, and so becomes a you know, a portrait, a very loose portrait of a person and a city and a landscape and a mood, and that can be enough for some people, you know, others not. But.
And then in the adaptation, this might be my last question. Do you see yourself? Is it a personal expression as much as it is an expression of the source material?
Sure, no, it's gotta be very personal, I think. Although sometimes, I don't know, I think it depends. I mean, you have to bring something to it personally, or you probably have no business, getting involved with it, because you're gonna have to, by necessity, move it from the page to the screen, so that has to be a personal, accompaniment.
Well, let's open it up. Bathroom break,